All right. And I am getting word that we are ready for our next run. So please welcome Snowball with Sonic and Knuckles.
Hello everyone, my name is Snowball, or snowballsmb, and this is going to be Sonic Origins, Sonic and Knuckles, Amy and Tails, New Game Plus. I know that that's a little bit of a doozy of a category name, but I will do my best to explain what is going on pretty much right when the run kicks off. Sonic Origins is a lovely little collection of Sonic 1, CD, 2, 3 and Knuckles, and 12 Game Gear titles as well. And there are also a bunch of modes. Anniversary mode is the mode that is sort of like the one that gets played the most. All 4 of the main titles have anniversary mode, classic mode, boss rush, stuff like that. But we're going to just stick to a nice anniversary mode completed save file, as this is New Game Plus, so I have already from the get-go the Super Emeralds, which means Hyper Amy is on the table. And we're going to be starting at Mushroom Hill Zone because that's the first zone of Sonic and Knuckles and play through to Death Eggs. So I'm going to give a quick countdown and then we are going to be off. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you, thank you. So very quickly we are going to see Knuckles. We will see Knuckles a few times throughout the run. I love this category because the name of it, Sonic and Knuckles, Amy and Tails New Game Plus, has all 4 members of Team Sonic in the category title. But a fun fact about this run, at least in my opinion, this is the hardest single stage in the run, at least in terms of like big reset points, because of that big jump that I did off of the Speed Shoes monitor. To get back up to the top route, that was a really good jump. Getting that sort of hit off of that monitor is really, really tough. So I'm very happy that I was able to get that. I'm going to just pop Hyper now. Much like Super State, Hyper State gives you super speed, increased jump height, and I'm going to just hit that spring, and invincibility, which they're all very, very nice things. Oh, come on, Amy. And now we are to the first boss. There is one major difference between Super Amy and Hyper Amy. I did not show it off there on purpose because I've actually been losing time whenever I've been trying to show it off. It will be used a few times. I have a sort of joke name for her special hyper-exclusive technique and a serious name. The serious name is Chaos Hammerstorm. The joke name is Chaos Home Depot. So now we're into Act 2. There was Knuckles again. He's gonna help us get to the stage even though he doesn't realize that he's helping us. I hate this chicken, because it sometimes just does that. This spring is going to take us on over to, I think, the only big ring that we actually use. So fun fact, the big rings in this game, they take you to the special stages where you find the emeralds. But if you already have all of the emeralds, then jumping into a big ring will instead give you 50 regular rings, which is very handy because you need 50 rings in order to activate Super State or Hyper State. So just hitting that instantly gives you Hyper State, and it's very, very handy because that's just like right on the path, which is very, very convenient. There are so many big rings in Mushroom Hill that are just sort of either on the path or right next to the path. Now we're going to see the hammers. So yeah, Amy can just chuck a bunch of Pico Pico hammers if you just mash the whatever your button is that activates Super Hyper State. It's great.
So I have a very important question, Snowball.
Yeah.
If Amy is Home Depot, since Sonic is blue, does that make him Lowe's?
Well, I think that would only be the case in which game is it? One of the advanced games, I think, where he actually has a hammer. One of I think the DS Sonic games. I could be getting this completely wrong. But like all of, I think Sonic and Knuckles at the very least, as well as Amy, all have hammers. I need to brush up on my lore. Also, I don't understand what exactly I'm doing to get hit by the fire jet leftwards. Whatever it is, it's very, very convenient. But this is Flying Battery Zone. This I feel like is the easiest zone to really sneak up on me and really cost a lot of time loss. For whatever reason, Flying Battery likes to pack a punch these days. And unfortunately, this cycle for these platforms is really inconvenient. I cannot believe that I was able to hit that jump. Really happy about that. Gonna pop Hyperstate and come on up over here. I am nearly in the clear for Flying Battery Act 1. There is one little section right up here that I have to take very carefully, and because if I rush that, then I can very easily get crushed by those platforms, and that's not good. Alright, Tails, where are you? There he is. Now he's gonna just turn me up here, so that way I can then run up this wall, and top path is where you want to go. I feel like a lot of the time, Tails will just, like, actually follow you through that hallway with the magnets on the ceiling and all that stuff. But usually when he does, he just sort of falls down the hole that you open up when you hit the button. He loves trolling at that section of the stage. But I'm actually probably going to be losing my Hyperstate momentarily, which is fine because while Hyperstate, much like Superstate, does drain your ring count, I still have an elemental shield underneath, so I won't be in any immediate risk. I do need to make...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Can I sneak in something during the auto-scroll boss here?
Sure.
Chat, we have met the incentive. Ristar will be super any %.
Nice. Let's go. Good job, chat. Alright, now we're moving on to Act number 2. This is another pretty frightening level. There are many, many spots where I can just get crushed by various pieces of the stage. Most notably, these things. So, fun fact. Flying Battery Act 1 is very, very similar between Sonic & Knuckles and Sonic Mania, and those are like the two main games, 2D Sonic games that I run. Act 2 between the two games is completely different. And I do not like the fact that I just lost my lightning shield already, so what I am going to do is I'm going to actually grab this fire shield, which I normally don't do, but I just want that added bit of protection. Also, that little narrow hallway, crushy pillar thingy, whatever you want to call it, has completely killed a run before, so I'm always super, super careful in that spot these days. I will say it does kind of suck to lose the lightning shield when I did, because each of the elemental shields usually have like 2 effects, sometimes 3. But there's usually an effect that does something to like aerial movement, and I'm gonna just take this safe. The aerial movement thing boosts from the elemental shields only Sonic gets. However, the lightning shield giving you protection from electric damage and also magnetizing rings to you, everyone gets. Fire shield, of course, gives you protection against fire and lava, and the bubble shield prevents you from being able to drown, which is very useful, just not in Sonic and Knuckles, because the water stage of Sonic 3 and Knuckles is not in the Sonic and Knuckles portion, Hydro City or Hydrocity or however you want to pronounce it. That is the second stage of Sonic 3. So we fortunately don't have to deal with any water stages in this run, but if there are any more messages from the host, now is a great time because Tails, get over here.
Yes, I have some donations to read, but first of all, speaking of donations, chat, there's a way to decide this once and for all, and it's via your donations to Trans Lifeline. Is the second zone pronounced Hydrocity or Hydro City? You know what to do. We have $25 from Drake Le Leon Blanc, our wonderful runner from the previous game. They say, hey, thanks again for the warm welcome for my run. I had so much fun. Please support Trans Lifeline, and don't forget, as we say in French, bourrez des dons. Do a lot of donations. I am sure I butchered that French. I apologize so much. But thank you, Drake. $100 from Anonymous with no comment, but they helped us meet that super any % donation incentive. Thank you, Anonymous. And finally, $10 from Ian Keith, and they say, with all these hammers, you know what Amy's favorite Weird Owl song is? Hardware Store. Thank you for your donation to Trans Lifeline, Ian Keith. I'm not sure I should thank you for that comment, but...
Oh, shoot. Delayed reaction time. My senses feel dulled this morning. I am so glad that platform was on that cycle, because I just sort of autopiloted and jumped when I probably shouldn't have. Alright, time to focus up. This is Sandopolis Act 1. So Flying Battery is, for some reason these days, just about the hardest stage in this run for me personally. However, this is just objectively the hardest zone in Sonic and Knuckles, with a close second being Death Egg, at least in my opinion. But Sandopolis is a constant just endurance test of how long can you go without making any sort of costly mistake. And usually, Sandopolis is much more punishing than other zones. Like, there's a lot that you have to be aware of, and also, with it being a pretty difficult zone, there's like pretty much no checkpoints on Act 1. So, you gotta pretty much hope for the best. All things considered, this has been a pretty strong Sandopolis 1, though. Just a few clumsy mistakes near the start. Hit the checkpoint, that is good. Now we've got another auto-scrollery boss. Not quite as bad as the Lava Reef Act 2 boss, but there's gonna be a big stone guy in this pyramid. He's gonna come out, he's gonna try and chase us, but he's super slow. He can only move from jumping, and he's gotta really build up to jump. But we're going to sort of lure him into the quicksand to the left. This is a great spot to sort of show off how good Amy's balancing animations are. We've got this one, and we've got this one. I wouldn't say that they're quite as good as the Knuckles balancing animations, but then again, I don't really feel like any balancing animations can top Knuckles. I'm gonna just hit him once, and now we are going to be moving on into the pyramid. So,
we have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
Okay. FBL sends in $5 and says, it is pronounced, and then they typed a word that's spelled Hydrocity. Good luck reading that correctly. So, alright, chat. You want chaos? I'm gonna cause chaos. It is pronounced Hydrocity. If I'm wrong, you know what to do. But it is 100% pronounced Hydrocity.
I personally disagree, but then again, I just like saying Hydro City more, so like, I'm okay. Like, if it was Hydrocity, I wouldn't mind being wrong just for the sake of enjoying pronouncing it differently more. I love how even the lead creators of Sonic sort of their ways of acknowledging this age-old joke in the community of, oh, how do you pronounce it? Because one of them in an interview, I can't remember which one, when asked about it, said something like, oh, English isn't my first language. Which I think is such a perfect response. But now we are moving on into probably the scariest part of Sandopolis Act 2. I call this the Sunbaked Sandcastle section because Sunbaked Sandcastle was one of my favorite stages from Super Mario Galaxy growing up. And I sort of feel like this part of the stage plays very similarly. Rising sand that can crush you if it catches up to you. And a little bit auto-scrollery, but with the power of Tails being able to fly, it's not 100% an auto-scroller. There are two gimmicks in Sandopolis Act 2. There are the lights dimming down with the light switches to turn the lights all the way back on, and as the lights dim more and more, those ghosts gain strength. And then there are also those little blocks that I've been pushing to open up doors and whatnot. So this has actually gone about as... I was about to say about as perfectly as it could, and then Tails just dropped me there. Tails! Okay, fine, you know what? I'm popping Hyperstate now, because now we are past the auto-scroller section. So, I usually try to wait to pop Hyperstate until I'm past that point, because there's no real benefit in using it before you get past there. And it would honestly just be like draining rings for pretty much no reason. But since we're past that point, no more auto-scroller, which means time to go fast. This is another one of the bosses that can just sort of get absolutely shredded by all of the hammers. Which we are coming up to pretty shortly. I couldn't remember exactly where that drum was, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting past it before really picking up my speed again. I also don't want to stand too close to the boss when those bricks come back, because I have been crushed. I don't think you're supposed to be able to get crushed there, but I have been crushed there. So I'm gonna take that safe. Now we are moving on into the zone where I always feel like I'm getting lost, even though I'm like never getting lost. We've got Lava Reef Act 1. This is sort of like the one time where I'm going to really go out of my way to pick up some rings. That's not good. Rushing that, getting hit there, that is far from ideal, because now I've got to really pay attention to my ring count. I should still be fine, though, because these two monitors. But since... Hello, open the door. Oh, wait. I think it already opened the door, and I'm being silly. Since there are so many rings right over there, it does actually save time to jump up to where all of those rings are and grab all those and pop hyper sooner because of just the increased speed. Also, on that elevator where Tails was trying to troll, because of the way that I slide my finger across all of the spin dash buttons, I'm also hitting, by extension, the button that throws hammers. And the hammers can actually be thrown through walls and doors and stuff, and there were a couple of ring monitors on the other side of that wall. So the hammers hit that, broke that, and I was able to get a nice chunky amount of extra rings. I don't want to hit that spring, but it's honestly not the end of the world because it does get me into range to have the ring magnetism from my lightning shield pick up a bunch more rings. Also, that is always the scariest section, because I'm always worried that I'm going to hit that cycle at just the wrong time, where I'm going to get flattened by that, whatever kind of platform that's supposed to be. I don't think platforms are supposed to have, like, rocket jets and spikes. That seems hazardous.
It
But
does seem like that could be an OSHA violation.
yeah. But then again, you know, it's Dr. Eggman building these platforms, at least I'm assuming, so, you know, it sort of makes sense. Also, I got hit by that chimney. I probably should have turned around to break it, because if you get hit by the chimney smog, you have incredibly decreased movement speed, but if you break it before the smog wears off, then your speed returns early, and I just sort of left. Yeah, this is a really hard boss. Yeah, the boss is over. Now we're moving on into Act 2. This is, I think, the longest stage in the run, not counting Death Egg Act 2, because it sort of depends on how you factor the final boss into Death Egg Act 2. I personally sort of think that the final boss is its own thing. Like, I always call it Death Egg Finale, because that just feels right. But this stage, the boss is the longest boss that's not the final boss in the entire run, and it's really not good.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I think everyone will understand what I mean by that when we get there. But in addition to the boss just being long and really tedious, this is also just a really long stage. I did want to grab those invincibility sparkles so that way I can try to preserve some rings, because I do want to actually hyperstate in 2 different spots, and of course the fire extended just far enough down. That is fine, because there is actually a big ring right on the path, not too far from here. So I'm going to wait through the cycles of this, and then if I'm remembering where I am correctly, which I am, that's good, I'm going to hit this, come along here, and then backtrack down these stairs, because there is a hole in this wall. And this is a nice little shortcut, gives us a big ring, and I am honestly taking a little bit of a gamble activating Hyperstate here, but I have confidence that I will be rewarded for it. I want to jump over here, jump up here, and then we are going to be saying hi to Knuckles again. He's got a boulder. He's going to push the boulder down and send us into the boss arena. It's not very nice, but we do kind of need to get down here. So the reason why I popped Hyperstate then is because that sort of, like, level section transition deactivates Hyperstate. And I don't want Hyperstate active for this part, because this is an auto-scroller platformy section, and the slidiness from the increased speed makes it very easy to fall off. There is sort of just like an unseen checkpoint upon entering this boss arena, but if you die at any point, then you lose all of your rings, of course, and that's not good. And I would like to have Hyperstate for this bit coming up because it's funny, I guess. So I'm going to just sort of come down here, crouch, because I have the fire shield, I can stand on the lava just fine. This is going to sort of skip waiting for all of the other platforms to fall. Pop Hyperstate, and we're going to be like this for a little over a minute, so if there are any messages from the host, now is a fantastic time.
I wish I had donations to read, but chat is not doing their job, so come on, guys. We can do better than this. Give me things to read. In the meantime, you are watching Fastest Furs Fall Fest 2024 in support of Trans Lifeline. The mission of Trans Lifeline is to connect trans people to the community support and resources that they need to survive and thrive. They envision a world where trans people have the connection, economic security, and care that everyone needs and deserves, free of police, emergency responders, and prisons that disproportionately inflict violence and mistreatment on trans individuals. Since 2014, Trans Lifeline operators have answered over 100,000 calls from their peers, and we fully support the mission of Trans Lifeline to help and empower trans people through the power of community and shared lived experience. To learn more, please visit www.translifeline.org. And let me give a quick update on some things. We are at $15 out of $250 for the Watch the Original FMV ending incentive for Twisted Metal. So we've got $235 more to go there. And right now, we only have one donation for the file name bid war for Peggle Deluxe, and that is $1 for PB Cheetah. So right now, all it takes is $2 to get into the lead for the file name bid war for Peggle Deluxe. Get those donations coming in, everyone. Thank you.
All right, now we are moving on into the two zones that only have one act, and this is the shortest level by far in the game. It's Hidden Palace. I was hoping that Tails was going to fly up and hit the animal capsule early. Unfortunately, he decided the winning streak of hitting it early needed to end now. Of course, because this is a marathon run, why not? Okay, Knuckles, I really need... Can you please take damage? There we go. So we're gonna shove Knuckles into a corner and then hit him with a hammer wheel. He doesn't really know what to do. Yeah, that was a thrilling fight.
I mean, I don't think many people would know what to do if you put them in a corner and hit them with a hammer wheel. To be fair.
Yeah, that is fair, I suppose. But now Dr. Eggman's gonna steal the Master Emerald, which is not ideal. This is a long cutscene that we unfortunately have to watch and can't really skip. Followed by another long cutscene that we can't skip at the start of Sky Sanctuary, which is the next zone. But fun fact. So, Eggman there, you can jump and hit him, but he doesn't have the 8 points of HP that he normally does. No, he's got, I think it was like 255 hit points on this level or something like that. And I want to say if you like were to mod the game in a way where you could hit him enough times and deal enough damage where he would blow up, I think it soft locks the game. So it's a good thing that you can't deal that much damage that quickly, but now we're in Sky Sanctuary, we're tumbling in the sky. There's the Death Egg, but we have to watch the Death Egg sort of just rise up and launch a bunch of badniks and egg pawns and stuff like that, which is annoying because we're now 22 seconds into the stage and we can finally move. This is also Tails, please be helpful the stage. I don't want to go this way. Amy, don't hit that spring. Oh my god. Why does the bottom of that have collision? So that's what happens if you time your jump a little bit late. You go that way. So we want the lightning shield. We want to bounce up here. I hit the wrong cloud. There we go. This is a much more vertical stage than it is horizontal. Let's not get hit by that laser. There is a whole lot of going back and forth horizontally, but it's mostly going up. There are 3 different fights against Mecha Sonic on this stage. There's this one right here with the Egg Wrecker from Green Hill Zone in Sonic 1. And then there's going to be... I don't actually remember what it's called. The boss from Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2. We are going to skip that fight and go straight to the just sort of regular Mecha Sonic is actually his own sort of boss. Okay, Tails just decided we're flying, which honestly, that was kind of useful because that got me back on track very nicely. I'm not going to try and get cheeky and hit that jump. I might have been able to, but that would have been really tough. So, now we are coming up to the Tails Please Behave section of the level. Get up here, buddy. Get up here. Thank you. Gonna wait for this cycle on that spiky swing, which this is pretty good because the platform there was at a point of its cycle where it was sort of like still coming down as I was going up, which was very, very nice. Now we're gonna do this again. Tails is going to fly us on up over here to another sort of like teleporter, elevator thingy. And now we're going to finally pop Hyperstate, because Hyperstate doesn't really give you any benefits on the sections where it's just sort of Tails. And Hyperstate drastically speeds up this fight against Mechasonic. So he's gonna come by, destroy that thing, and get hit in the face by a lot of hammers. Now he's gonna bounce over here, and get hit in the face by another hammer, and that is the fight. So, we have one zone left, 2 levels, and a grand total of 3 bosses, one of which is a 3-phase fight. That is the Death Egg finale fight, of course. So, this is a very temperamental stage that loves to just murder the player any chance it gets. Hitting that enemy bouncing up, that was very fortunate. Tails is going to take me to a little hole in the wall that takes us over here. So that monitor in the original would be an extra life, but in Anniversary mode, it's a coin. Coins are used in Sonic Origins for unlocking various things in the game's museum, like art pieces, music, animations, the whole works. It's really cool in my opinion. And I just straight up did not see that missile at all. It is fine to damage boost a lot on this portion of the stage because, okay, maybe not this much, but after a certain point, the amount of hazards that are like really in the way drops drastically, and I did not want to come down here this early because it is a little bit difficult to get back up. I am going to just sort of take this opportunity to pick up a bunch more rings, and now Tails went to work on that lock. Thank you very much, Tails, for that. And now I will pop Hyperstate to just sort of finish the stage up as quickly as possible and try and regain some of the time that I lost taking a few extra hits. And also that increased jump height really helping out there. Fortunately, there's not much of the stage after that point. But now we got Red Eye. Red Eye is like the master of the elevator or something like that. This phase is something else. It's really hard to even really tell half the time what's happening, but that's the fight done. And now there are a few things that I need to make sure that I'm keeping track of on this stage. There's those effectively like light roller coaster things. I took the first one on Act 1 and skipped the second one because the second one, the movement is kind of rolling. Same deal here, except there are 3 and there are 2 that I need to skip because the movement just decides to troll you. I am not happy by the fact that I just completely missed that lightning shield. I'm going to just walk under that guy because if you don't, he will attack you, and I don't want to get hit right now. Even though I almost certainly will get hit a few times before activating Hyperstate, I would just like to not get hit, as that's usually a good rule to try and stick to when speedrunning platformers like this. Don't get hit, it's bad for you. I will take that bubble shield though, because coming up soon there are a couple of elevators, here they are, that are also conveyor belts, and there are spikes on the walls and missile launchers, and it's not fun. But coming up a little bit after this point is the scariest part in the entire run, because there is a seesaw, 2 seesaws actually. Yep, Amy, please spin dash, thank you. And these seesaws are awful because they are over bottomless pits with no sort of indicator that that is the case, right before a checkpoint really far after the previous checkpoint. So, yeah, it's very scary because these things can just decide your run is over, and that's no fun. I am going to stand a little bit closer to the middle than usual. Please fire. Thank you. There we go. Alright. Now I should be, for the most part, in the clear. I do still want to try to preserve my rings as much as possible, because I would like to pop Hyperstate and not drop below 50 rings by the time Amy runs off screen after the boss of this act. The reason for this being the amount of rings and any elemental shields and all of that you have at the end of this stage carries over into Death Egg Finale, and I would like to be able to pop Hyperstate for one of the phases of Death Egg Finale, if at all possible. So now I'm going to jump over that one, because it's not good. And now I actually will pop Hyperstate, because I'm at 80 rings, and there are plenty more, and I have a Lightning Shield magnetizing them to me. And the boss fight, as long as the boss cooperates, it's fairly quick. I would have liked to jump there to pick up those other rings, but oh well. So this is Uwu Ball. We call it that because the sound effect for it going up and down sounds like it's just saying Uwu over and over again. This is a really irritating boss, because the hammers, you have to sort of manipulate around the those sort of spring pads. And also the spring pads that are on it can just sort of hit you, even if you're not really that close. But now we're to Death Egg Finale, so time is going to be coming up very soon. There is going to be a fade to white after the third phase, and as soon as the screen is completely white with no more explosions, that is when time will be. I will be calling it out, of course, when we get there. Also, I went the wrong way, I think. No, I didn't. Tails is just getting hits at really inconvenient times. But now we're down to just one more hand. Now we're down to just one more finger. There we go. Popping Hyperstate. Because now he's going to chase us and breathe fire out of his nose and shoot lasers with the Master Emerald. So invincibility and hammers is nice. I just keep throwing hammers in ways where, like, they're all just missing his weak spot, which is kind of annoying. There we go. Now he is going to show up in his Eggmobile carrying the Master Emerald. 8 more hits, and then that's pretty much it. 3, 4. Might have been able to get a 5th there, but alright, that's 6. Tails, you know what to do. Nice. Alright. And time.
GG.
Oh,
Great run.
That was a whirlwind of a run. Some stages went a little shaky. I'm very happy with how Death Egg went, though. That Death Egg 2 felt like one of my strongest. So I am very, very happy with that. What was my time by any chance?
We have you at 36:12.
Oh wow, okay, I'm very happy with that. That is my second fastest run of this category I've ever had.
Awesome!
So I will take that. Yeah, gonna just give a few real quick shout-outs before signing off. Shout-outs to the Classic Sonic speedrunning community for being very, very welcoming and super cool. Shout-outs to all my friends at FPE for also being very, very supportive and cool. Shoutouts to everyone at Fastest First for being awesome and cool and letting me show off this run. I absolutely adore this category. And shameless plug, you can find me on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch at snowballsmb. I like to stream Sonic games, Super Monkey Ball games, and some indie games for fun, and also some monster collecting RPGs occasionally, because those are also a great time. But yeah, I think that's going to be all from me. Thanks again, Fastest First, for having me.
Snowball, before you go, real quick, how do you feel about doing voices?
Usually, I love doing voices. Right now, though, not so much, because my throat is kind of killing me.
Okay, we had a request from one of the donations, but I wanted to give you the option, so that's fine.
Which voice is it?
Are you familiar with Gex?
Not familiar enough to remember.
Okay.
Like, It's been like multiple years, I think, since I've seen Gex.
That is perfectly fine. I wanted to give you the option. So thank you so much, Snowball. That was a fantastic run. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
GG's in
you.
chat again. Give it up for Snowball. And so thank you, Reddick, for the $5 donation. And I have 3 donations here from FBL that I need to read. They are each $5. So here we go, as requested. FBL sends in $5 and says, something to read. Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Went the distance. Now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. FBL sends in $5 and says, so many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. Thank you, FBL. And FBL sends in $5 and says, it's the eye of the tiger! It's the thrill of the fight! Rising up to the challenge of our rival! And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. So thank you, FPL, for giving me things to read. And let me remind you all, we are here raising money for Trans Lifeline. It is a wonderful cause. Please donate what you can. We are about to take a quick break. Before that, I have been Rubicante, and this is the end of my time with you here on Thursday. I will be back on the mic Saturday for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Please stay with us this entire weekend. We have so many amazing games, amazing runs coming up. You don't want to miss any of them. So we will take a break, and we will be back with you very soon.
Good time zones, everybody. Welcome back to Fastest Furs Fall Fest 2024. My name is 12th Dog, but you can call me 12. And we are just waiting for Mackie to be ready for his upcoming run of Rise Star. Congratulations, everyone. You've increased the difficulty from hard percent to super percent. I've been told a little bit behind the scenes. This is going to increase the difficulty somewhat, in that it turns it into a sort of one-hit knockout mode without any checkpoints. So, yay, fun! Congratulations, everyone. Well done on hitting that incentive. We'll give him a little bit more time, and in the meantime, I am going to check over and check with some of the donations. Oh, the donation queue has just been emptied. That's okay. We'll have a little bit more time. And let Mackie get ready with his stream. In the meantime, can I interest you in some merchandising? Or I would do if I lost my page. You can tell this person has done this before. He's completely lost the plot. Haha. Never mind. We'll find it again. Eventually. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows. Anyway, you're watching Fastest Furs Fall Fest 2024. We're in support of Trans Lifeline. The mission of Trans Lifeline is to connect trans people to the community support and resources that they need to survive and thrive. They envision a world where trans people have the connection, economic security and care that everyone needs and deserves, free of police, emergency responders and prisons that disproportionately inflict violence and mistreatment on trans individuals. Since 2014, Trans Lifeline operators have answered over 100,000 calls from their peers, and we fully support the mission of Trans Lifeline to help and empower trans people through the power of community and shared lived experience. To learn more, please visit www.translifeline.org. I have found what I was going to say originally. The joys of technology. Can't live with it. We are thrilled to once again be partnered with Timberwolf Trading to bring all of our Fall Fest 2024 marathon shirts to you. Use the command !merch in the chat to browse our new Fall Fest 2024 designs from Sky Blue Arts, Flux, Rotim, Fizzy J, and Autumn Wyvern. $5 from each shirt purchase will be donated directly to Trans Lifeline. They'll only be available till the end of the event, so don't miss out on your chance to pick one up today. You can also check out the entire Timberwolf Trading store online at www.timberwolftrading.ca, where you can order your own custom stickers, shirts, laser engravings, and more from this furry-owned business. I've been checking out the shirts myself while preparing for this run. I know where all my money's going. Just checking up on a couple of our incentives which are open as well, and we have a few coming up very shortly. So we have Twisted Metal watching the original full motion video ending at the end of the run. We currently have $35 out of our target of $250, so which I have been told is hilarious. Then we need to have more donations go towards that incentive. Remember, when you donate to Fall Fest, you can tag your donations with an incentive. And if you want to see that ending, tag it with the Twisted Metal original FMV ending. We also have a file name bid war in place for the run later on this evening of Peggle Deluxe. At the moment, PB Cheetah is winning with $1. We can definitely do better than this. We can definitely get something going here. So if you have any suggestions that you would like to add towards this bid war, go, you know what to do. Get there, donate. We can make this happen. We've just had a generous gift of 5 Tier 1 subs in the chat. Thank you so much for gifting to the community. If you have received a gifted sub, please make sure to thank the gifter. It is always appreciated. Speaking of gifted subs, did you know? Team Fastest First wants you to know. All revenue from the Twitch subscriptions and tiered bits received during this weekend's event will support our events now and into the future, including the upcoming Fastest First Live at FWA 2025 event, which will be returning to Furry Weekend Atlanta next year. Please consider subscribing now to get our Fastest First emotes, featuring the always adorable PB Cheetah, and don't forget to check and see if you have free Twitch Prime gaming sub available too. Did you know that you could subscribe to any channel on Twitch for free every month with Twitch Gaming? It's crazy, I tell you. It's crazy. And you probably have it right now. So you know what to do. If you have it right now, please consider using your Prime sub here. It does make a ton of difference. Do we see any primers in the chat? Any primers at all? Can I interest you in a prime? We're just giving Mackie a little bit more time to get the run set up. Remember that we have completed the incentive that has increased the difficulty from hard any percent to super hard any percent, effectively turning the run into a one-hit knockout attempt. And we're just taking a little bit more time to set that up, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back very shortly. I have been informed that there have been a couple of hiccups, and we have NGs from TF2 hitting the run over the head with like the wrenches to get it going. That fixes everything, right? So we'll be doing that shortly, and hopefully that will fix the issues, and then we will have our run going. In the meantime, could I possibly interest you in some coffee? Team Fastest Furs is proud to welcome Dragon Roast Coffee as an event sponsor for Fall Fest 24. Dragon Roast Coffee is a dedicated coffee for gamers and the gaming community. Their small, passionate team puts their hearts into roasting coffee to order, and each batch is roasted with the mythical heat of dragon fire, infusing a touch of enchantment in every sip. Use the command !coffee in chat for a link to their website, that's dragonroast.coffee. While shopping, enter the promo code FALLFEST at checkout for a 10% off your order, plus for each 12-ounce bag of coffee purchased, Dragon Roast Coffee will donate $5 directly to Trans Lifeline. So once again, that promo code is FALLFEST, all one word, all capitals, FALLFEST. Enter the promo code for 10% off your order, and for every 12-ounce bag, Dragon Roast Coffee will be donating $5 directly to Trans Lifeline. I agree with Ian Keith. I was looking at Dragon Roast Coffee a while ago before I knew they were going to be connected with this weekend's event, and it looks like it's going to be good stuff. So if you are in the shipping area and you do like your coffee, then please consider, because it looks like it's quality stuff here.